Good day to you, this is Leon, and I am currently in Sicily, southern Italy, in a train, crossing through the beautiful landscape on my way from Catania to Syracuse, which is even a bit more south. It's really beautiful, weather's perfect. Nothing else I can wish for. I will be here for 1 week. Got a short vacation, and I'll be celebrating my birthday on this vacation in just a few days. But as you know, this channel is mostly about Bulgaria, what I do there, and everything in my life that I do, from traveling to other hobbies and activities, but mostly focused on living in Bulgaria and what are the benefits of it. So one thing that could be a slight concern for some people that want to move to Bulgaria is the language. And I've been thinking about it a lot lately and just wanted to share a few words about it. So, Bulgarian is a Southern Slavic language which shares a lot with Serbian, Macedonian. Even Macedonian and Bulgarian are nearly similar, or some people say very much the same, even though there are some local differences. Then, what else? Croatian, Bosnian, the whole Serbo-Croatian language would be considered a Southern Slavic language. And what else? I believe that's all. What other languages do we have in the region? Obviously Greek. We have Turkish on the border, because Bulgaria borders Turkey, Greece, Romania, Serbia, Macedonia. So we have Romanian in the area, Serbian, which is quite similar to Bulgarian as well. What else do we have in the region? Albanian, which is not similar to any other language, I believe. But speaking Bulgarian, you would be able to get through Eastern Europe a bit more easily, especially through the southern countries such as Serbia, Macedonia, Montenegro, and so forth. Croatia a bit less, because it has a bit more unique properties, but you'd get quite far there as well. And I've had instances where in Serbia I just spoke Bulgarian and people would completely understand me. So Bulgarian is a bit of a difficult language to learn, but many say it is easier than Russian. Russian being definitely in the top 10 of the hardest languages to learn, I believe, for English speakers. Bulgarian a bit less so, but still it is definitely not considered to be with the easy languages such as Italian, Spanish, French, or even Dutch and German. Bulgarian is definitely a step up. And I remember when I came to the country in 2014, I had studied a bit, just the basics, back home on my computer. I started preparing a bit for, diving into it. And when I came, I first had to arrange several things, such as my apartment, my internet, and when I went to the office of Net1 to sign a contract for the internet, the lady didn't speak any English, and my Bulgarian was very basic, just a few words. So obviously I couldn't handle the whole process of signing the contract there, asking several questions. So I had to call my landlord, and she translated for me on the phone, back and forth with the lady. And I then heard my landlord and the lady speak Bulgarian, and I thought, well, this is going to be impossible to do. I am not going to learn this language. It's incredibly hard. It sounds so difficult that there was not a single word I could recognize because I knew no other Slavic languages. So everything sounds like one word. I mean, it's a sentence consisting of several words, but you cannot separate them from one another because you don't have no idea what it means. It's just one long sound. And it just goes on and on. But that's with any foreign language. But when it's Slavic, you have the vowels, and it just sounds much more complicated. I mean, I already knew that it would be very challenging. But then I thought, well, I can do nothing about it. I'll stay for a while and see how it goes. What else can I do? So I went back home and started traveling around a bit. Then had a small phrase book with me all the time and a dictionary. So when I traveled, it was quite hard to get around with English, especially when ordering train tickets in some village or asking a question to some elderly people walking around. It will be nearly impossible to get by with English, so I had to learn Bulgarian. I just had a phrase book and I started talking. And I got there. So I remember memorizing phrases from the book, for example, when is the last train back to Sofia? I would like one ticket to Sofia, please. And I just memorized them, and the more I spoke, the more I memorized. And I made a lot of mistakes, and I still do. And the thing that got me there to a very good level of Bulgarian, I would say, in 3.5 years, is just going out and make as many mistakes as you can. What else? I made a rule with myself, or directly from the beginning on, that I would just speak Bulgarian and no English. I mean, it would be the last case scenario that I would switch to English, no matter what. When I was out and about in the country, it was just Bulgarian. And so I got there. And then I remember some people asking me, how well do the people speak English in Bulgaria when you're deep into the country? And I thought, well, I never tried to speak English, so I'm not entirely sure. But definitely, if you go deep into the country, village to village, you would need Bulgarian. You can get around with, I mean, trying to speak English, but people might understand you. But it will not get you very far, especially not when you're trying to get to know the villages and some of the stories people share. They open up to you when you speak their language. And what I noticed is that obviously not many foreigners speak Bulgarian. So any effort to just speak some words gets you really far. And people forgive you for making mistakes. I mean, they do correct you, which I do appreciate, but they tend to overlook any mistakes you make, even in more serious conversations. Or, I mean, it doesn't matter much because you're one of the few when you do learn Bulgarian, and you're one of the very few if you actually go deep and study it and try to excel in speaking this language. You'll be one of the very few. And Bulgarian has a lot of accents. So when you do get to a level that is moderate to very good, people won't necessarily notice that you're not from there. I mean, you'll probably have an accent, and so do I. But people could think, well, he's from another region, or he has a Bulgarian parent, or he's from Russia, and it was easy for him to speak Bulgarian. So people don't necessarily ask me where I'm from anymore. And if they do, I in 50% of the cases get asked if I'm from Russia or not. I don't know why, maybe because I have some characteristics in my face, I have no idea. People don't typically tell I'm from Western Europe, or they ask me if I'm from the Baltics or Ukraine, anywhere but from Holland, which is interesting as well. It also happened to me that I was in a store and someone asked me where another store was, if I knew, and I said, yeah, it's that way in Bulgarian. And the guy said, spasiba, because he thought I was from Russia. He obviously wasn't, but perhaps he made it out from my accent. But I mean, it does better. People appreciate you learning their language, and it really surprises them that, for example, you're in a village and you talk to them and you say, yeah, I'm from Holland, I learned the language, I'm here for over 3 years now. They say, well, what brings you here? I mean, some people even ask me, what's wrong with me? What brings you to this country? We want to go there and you come here. Something you hear quite often, but when you're in the city Sofia, people do realize that as a foreigner, especially from Western Europe, speaking some languages, you can easily find a job and have a very good lifestyle. So it's hardly a surprise for them anymore to see a foreigner, but still it surprises them if you do speak their language and at a good level. I mean, and they'll go out of your way to help you or give you an extra level of service. They just appreciate it if you're a foreigner interested in their country. And you notice you get treated on a whole different level. And I guess it's the same everywhere, but for a country where very few foreigners speak the local language, or very few speak it at a very good level, you definitely stand out, and it can help you with a lot of things. Perhaps not so much professionally, because chances are very small you'll be working with Bulgarian language. Salaries for Bulgarian speakers, I mean, are not as high as for speakers of Western European languages. I mean, I've yet to meet the first foreigner that works with Bulgarian language and not with his own language. Yeah, so it's an international environment. There's a lot of people working with Dutch, with German, French, Spanish, Finnish. Not that many, but Finnish is also one of the rarest languages in Bulgaria. I think you can get a very good salary if you do speak Finnish and come to Bulgaria. But the same goes for Dutch. There are already plenty of Bulgarians who speak German, French, and Spanish, Italian, but Dutch a bit fewer. So, as you might know, there are a lot of international companies where they look for language speakers, not necessarily a call center or help desk. I mean, what I do is work with clinical trials, and which is not a call center job. It's just supporting medical research studies, and I do work with my own language. And others work with different languages as well. And that's a really interesting environment. So what else I did is speak Bulgarian with my colleagues as much as possible. The thing is that if you come work in Bulgaria, you will have a lot of Bulgarian colleagues, not just foreigners. Because as I said, there's the Bulgarians who speak German, French, Spanish, and so forth. And it's these people from whom you can learn Bulgarian, because they will speak Bulgarian with one another. And if you just mingle in between them, try to pick up some words, just speak it as much as possible. You'll pick it up in no time. It's not an issue. And it surprised me that even in half a year I could get by very easily with basic things, and even some of the harder things like open a bank account. It was not a problem anymore. I just try to make as many mistakes as possible, have people laugh at me, well, with me, not definitely at me, but they think it's funny, but they generally appreciate it. So come work in one of these companies. You can get some very good opportunities with your language, or if you know how to code well. If you speak Finnish, you'd be in one of the best positions, I believe. But also if you just speak English. I mean, English is the most common language now, and obviously nearly everyone speaks it of the young people, so you could get a job, but one of the rare languages would be more, well, would be more interesting to work with, because you'd maybe get a higher salary, it depends on the company, and better job opportunities. What else can I say about Bulgarian? You can download several courses and language packs. You can buy them online or get some books. And the thing is with learning languages that if you spend 15 minutes each day, by the end of the month you'd have several hours. And you start from nothing, and then when you do put in some effort, you already know more than at least 80% of the foreigners, I believe. Because there are quite many people in Bulgaria, foreigners, who don't know the language, or know it at a very basic level, or they don't really go into the country, so they don't need it, and that kind of makes a difference. That if you do go and put in the effort, you'd stand out a bit. And going into the country when you're forced to use the language, that's when you actually learn it. When you make mistakes, stumble a few times, because when you actually do need it and you have no choice to speak it, you somehow are able to, even with the most basic words. So if you do come, make it a rule for yourself to only speak Bulgarian. You'll be surprised how fast it goes. So wish you a good day from Sicily, and see you soon. Bye bye.